In this new episode of Website Design Inspiration, we'll take a look at a beautiful website called Whoop. And who knows, maybe it's the inspiration you need
for your next website project.
Hello, I'm your host Casino. I'm the Digital Alchemist, and today we'll take a look at a website from a company called Whoop. So first of all, we'll take a look at the desktop version, then the mobile version, and finally the verdict. So let's start with the desktop version. But before we get started, just know that this is my own subjective view, and of course you are entitled to your own opinion. So with that out of the way, let's start with the desktop general impression. For that, let's move on to the browser. So first of all, my general impression is that it's a really nice and minimal website. And if you know anything about my channel, you know that I love that. To me, this is more geared towards corporate websites. Now, when we think of corporate, we often think of banks or regular businesses, and we don't often think about pictures with tattoos and that kind of stuff. Now, here, this is not the case. This is a corporate professional website. And one of the first things that you want to check when you audit a website is the message clear? So it says personalized performance insights. And I see the video, I see the images, and the more I scroll, the more I understand what it's all about. That's really good because at least I'm not going to waste any time. And you don't want your visitors to waste any time. Is it for them? Or you could ask the question, is this for me? At least you need to know what it's all about. So I think it works really well. Personally, I like all the white space and the fonts. I think the fonts are beautiful. So the overall impression is really high end. You can see how the icons are polished. The color palette works really nice. Everything is easy on the eye. You have some subtle animations. And all in all, it works really well. It gives this feeling that it's a high-end service or products that you're going to be offered the more you scroll on the website. Now, the rest of the pages are on par with the homepage. We're not going to review everything, but there is some consistency throughout the pages, except for when you move into the shop. So this is the shop, which is apparently Shopify. So the navigation is different. But the good thing is it's still on brand. The colors are respected, and you know that you're within the same brand. But the navigation, I mean, if I had something to change, and we'll talk about that later, but the navigation can confuse people who don't know better. And when you move to the support part, we also have the same issues. Now, this is the page where you join, where you can log in as a customer, I guess. And here we have yet another page with another navigation. But overall, a really solid impression that you're going to get something serious out of it. And it's all about impressions, especially on the web. So I often talk about brands. Brands is all about impressions, and it starts here on the screen. Next, let's move on to the details. So let's go back to our browser window. And for the details, something that I find weird is this box shadow here. But this is really subjective. This is something that personally I don't really like, but you may like it. But I think there's the other ways to have kind of the same effect to separate the navigation from the rest of the page. For the rest, we have some nice parallax with subtle Lottie animations. We also have this animation here. When you hover over the images, you get these animated counters. For most of this page, it could be done with a theme builder like Wirementor Pro, for example. But for this one, I'm not really sure. I think I've seen that somewhere in an add-on pack, but there are so many add-on packs that I've been looking for it, but I couldn't find it. So if you know any add-on pack that does that counter animation, please let me know in the comment. When I say counter animation, I mean when you hover over an image with the same behavior. For the rest, the fonts are beautiful. I believe it's Proxima Nova. And they really put some time into the icon. The icons are retina, and they're not like the typical icon. So I think it's really nice to have that detail, that level of detail. Okay, for the rest, I like how they made all the different logos here. Even though they have a different size and different aspects, the whole thing looks really clean because they've used a framed white box here. That contrasts nicely with the light gray in the background of the page. Next, the mobile version. So first of all, bear in mind that out of 10 visitors, probably 6 to 8 are going to see that website on a mobile. So let's start with the mobile general impressions. So for that, let's go back to our browser window. And here, I really think that it was not made with a mobile first approach. Now, don't get me wrong, it looks really beautiful, but why do I say that? We'll look at the details in a moment, but there are some little hints here, like the vertical space. I mean, the image here doesn't look like it was made for the mobile, where we could have had a more square aspect ratio. Also, you see the white space is inconsistent vertically, but also the padding on the edges. Like here we have some white space between those two sections. And to me, it looks like this was made from a desktop version, and then they proceeded on to doing the mobile version like we often do. But then they forgot some of the things that are specific to the mobile. But for the rest, it's a really clean, nice experience on the website. I would say the same thing I said for the desktop version. The issue comes when you land onto other parts of the websites, like here on the store. So if I go back to the regular pages, we have this navigation, which is beautiful. Maybe too many items. I would try maybe to have a drop-down sub-navigation. But okay, let's say they pushed it to the limit, which is 7 items. And the 8th one, which is the call to action. So we have this navigation here, but then we move on to the shop, and then it's a different navigation. So that can be confusing. Then we move on to the support, and then it comes on the right-hand side. And finally, we'll talk about that in a moment, but that seems to not be responsive, the page to log in. And then we have yet another header when we click on the call to action. So let's dive into some of the details of the mobile version. So for the mobile version, and also for the desktop version, but specifically for the mobile version, I wouldn't use a video in the background, or at least I would do some A/B testing. And actually I would do that on the desktop version also. So if you're not familiar, A/B testing is the fact that you could have one page served to one visitor with the video, and then for the second visitor, they will get a different version with a static image, for example. And then when you have enough visitors, let's say you have 1,000 visitors, and then you're going to see which people click more on that button here. So that would really help. So I wouldn't put video on the mobile. For the rest, we've talked about it earlier on, but I would really fix the consistency issues for the vertical padding and the horizontal padding also. And those spaces here. This is easily changeable, especially if you're using a theme builder. They're using WordPress here, but I'm not sure what they're using. Currently, I'm using Elementor Pro, so that would be really easy to fix. For the rest, it works really nice on the mobile. I still don't like that shadow, but that's personal taste. But something I will really touch on, and we'll see that later on in the verdict, is the inconsistency for the navigation. Now, when it comes to this page, which is the login page, but I'm not sure if it's the login page for the shop or for what. But that login page should be responsive, and either it's another platform that's not responsive, or it's just something they forgot to change. So that should be easily changeable, but that's way too small. For the rest, I like the attention to detail. I like the color palette works nice, just like on the desktop. Here you can see that the images are made for the mobile. It's really big and bold, and it works well. And overall, most of the pictures are really quality pictures on both versions. But I can see that some images have been optimized for the mobile, whereas some others would need more optimization. So, what's the verdict? Now, before I give you the grade and the verdict, just bear in mind that this is not the absolute truth. You are entitled to your own opinion. This is my opinion. And also, it's not the grade I'm going to give is not a grade against all of the websites in the world. It's just a grade against similar type of website that I've seen this week, this month, maybe from the beginning of the year. But more realistically, it's what I've seen in the last 1, 2, 3 to 4 weeks, and also compared to websites in similar industry. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at things I would change. So let's go back. I would definitely get rid of that shadow here, but that's personal preference. I would work on the vertical space, but for the rest, it's really beautiful. What I would really change is the overall experience for the navigation, because there are way too many subdomains. Now, I don't know if this was a choice or not. Sometimes actually advise people to do that, to get dedicated services for specific features. But sometimes this is something you can just integrate within WordPress, like a shop, the support. So it depends. I don't know what the choice is, but I will really do something about the navigation, because right now the experience can be quite confusing when it comes to the navigation. Next, let's talk about things I absolutely dig about this website, and let's go back to the browser. And first of all is the font. I think it's really beautiful. I really love that font. I also think that the color palette is really nice and something you can easily get inspired from. It works really well. The red, the gray, and the dark theme, I think it works really nice. I also love the icons. I don't know if it's custom design or if they purchase an icon pack, but I think it looks really nice and really gives personality to this design. And I also like the quality of the images and the way the layout was made. So definitely something to be inspired from. And last but not least, the final verdict. So which grade am I going to give to this website? Once again, take this with a grain of salt. It's just my own opinion. So because it's a minimal, beautiful corporate website, the message is clear, the branding is great. The user experience could be better with regards to all the headers and the subdomains, but the overall experience is really nice. So I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10. Now, what grade would you give that website?
Let me know in the comments.
So I hope that you enjoyed this website inspiration video, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up because it really helps growing this channel. Now, if you're not yet subscribed, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and please smash the notification bell so that you don't miss anything. Now, if you want to get better at branding and you want help to craft great color palettes and great branding for your next project, I have a brand identity guidelines template that you can download for free on my website. And this is the link where you can get it. So it's quesinio.com/branding. Now, as mentioned, this guide is completely free. It was made with Affinity Designer, which I've already talked about, but you can also edit it with Adobe Illustrator. So you find a blog post and a video that will walk you through what you need to do to edit this branding guide template. Now, if you want to get in touch with me and with the content I produce, the best way is to go to my website, quesinio.com. And if you want exclusive tips and you want to know when I release a new piece of content, you can go to my website and subscribe to my newsletter at quesinio.com/newsletter. So I hope that you enjoyed this website inspiration video and that I will see you in the next one. In the meantime, don't forget to invest
In your success.